once the balloons start to get themselves sorted out, you'll hear all the noise of the fans blowing. It's actually the cold air inflation fans. That means you fill the balloon with cold air first. Once they're stood up in the right position, then obviously they can load in the passengers, get themselves ready for the flight. And at that point, one of the lucky few who come out this morning are the ones going to get all the best of the beautiful morning. The sun is now breaking through over the hall, at Bradley Hall. And you're going to see a field full of colour. Our first balloon is away. See the black balloon, red, green, and yellow balloon. Slightly different shape. This is I think it's an ultramagic balloon from Spain. And we're going to watch what they're doing. And as they go up, you'll see, you can see the balloons rocking from side to side. As they've gone out of the field here, there is a layer of faster air. It's around 500 feet, and as soon as they get that layer of faster air, that then catches the balloon and starts to take it away.
I could have
Is now, and you'll see the side of the balloon is being pulled in because he is... Okay, cameras out, big phones out. There's a sight to see. It's going in the right direction, pointing nose first. Normally with special shape like that, they invariably turn around and it looks like they're reversing everywhere.
All pilots, just a reminder that the briefing will take...
So whilst the models are doing some amazing formation flying and dive bombing practice in front of us, at Rackley Hall and the Midlands Air Festival, we'd like to bring you something new and exciting, and we have a world exclusive today, the birth of a brand new display team.
A brand new team. I'm 22 and Ben, the co-pilot's 21. It's our first ever show and we're looking forward to it.
So Ben, welcome, and tell us how you got into flying.
Cool, yeah, so my name's Ben, I'm from Shropshire, 6 days a week, managed to get my money from a PPL, and then from a while got my OWL building, ended up being a jump pilot, flying the airvan and caravan around the UK, and also getting a jump license as well. Carrying on with the hours, I managed to get my display ticket a year ago now. We've been practicing as much as we can, and we managed to get our first air show at Midlands Air Festival.
That was a big one.
So settle back, relax, grab some food and drink from our vast merchandising area here and prepare for a wonderful day's entertainment here at the Midlands Air Festival 2023.
Well, as you can probably see, Red 10 and the squirrel is on his way in. He'll be landing just in front of the air traffic and public address caravan. Don't forget, when he gets out, he stands up, giving a big cheer and a round of applause.
Well, if you're ready, everyone, let's give a big welcome to Red 10 Squadron Leader Graham Muscat. Give him a big round of applause with a cheer and welcome him to the show. And I've just been informed it's not the Squirrel now, it's called Juno. That's the helicopter's name.
As he pulls up at 5.5 G, he converts his speed into height to perform his first manoeuvre, the quarter clover. David John is known to most as DJ or Gibbo. He was born in Southport and started his flying career in the Royal Navy in 1996. He flew the Sea King and support helicopter role. As this is DJ's second year of the tutor display, he is operating at a base height of 200 feet. 300 feet, 200 feet lower than previous seasons. DJ achieves 1,300 feet and rolls 90 degrees. And whilst pointing straight up before completing the stall turn at almost zero airspeed, keen enthusiasts amongst you may notice this is the only 2023 RAF display where you'll be able to see a stall turn performed. DJ is now serving the Royal Air Force, and when not displaying, he is responsible for training qualified military pilots to become instructors on the Grog Tutor. In his spare time, DJ flies vintage airplanes, races powerboats, and drives classic cars. He also has a penchant for Michelin-starred restaurants. During his varied career, DJ has amassed over 6,000 flying hours on 50 different aircraft types. The Tutor is operated by No. 6 Flying Training School, primarily for UAS students and air cadets. 6FTS is also engaged in other essential defence tasks, such as frontline mission rehearsal and training of mission support crew. The wingover is a combined pitching and rolling manoeuvre used to turn the flight path through 180 degrees. You will notice that every wingover is slightly different as DJ carefully selects his flight path to cater for different energy states and wind conditions. It's subjected to forces 6 times stronger than gravity. Whilst it might not be as loud and fast as other aircraft, displaying the Tutor requires careful energy management due to its low power to weight ratio. 18 air experience flights across the UK. They serve over 1,200 air cadet squadrons and RF combined cadet force units nationwide. Each year the experience flies offer trips to 20,000 cadets. And you can join the air cadets if you are between 12 and 17 years old. From the age of 13, you can glide in the Viking or fly in the Tutor and experience aerobatic manoeuvres like you see today. The RAF Air Cadets is also one of the largest providers of the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme and offers a range of other adventurous training. The Grog 115E Tutor is operated in partnership with Babcock International Group. It is constructed of a carbon composite material and has a 180 horsepower Lycoming piston engine. DJ will pull up into the vertical for another stall turn, and this is an excellent photo opportunity. As DJ presents the underside of the aircraft to you, you will see the Royal Air Force Benevolent Fund Heart, seen since 2022 to celebrate a fantastic charity. Benevolent Fund support Royal Air Force personnel, air cadets and veterans whenever they're in need. We're proud to raise awareness for a charity that gives so much to the whole of the RAF family. Vector pointing upwards. DJ will now bring the tutor around for his departing way. This is another great photo opportunity. Make sure you return his wave as he flies through. He can see you. And a really big thank you to Midlands Air Festival for hosting us today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the 2023 Royal Air Force Tutor Display!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together too for Flying Officer Lewis Ozzy Osborne for that great commentary on the tutor.
Arrive in a wall formation. It's approximately 300 feet from wingtip to wingtip as they all pull up and collapse into 8-arrow formation. Pulling up at over 4 to 5G and over 400 miles per hour on the Tucano, where he was the Tucano display pilot in 2010. But as the team bend around to the left, the smoke comes on for the 8-arrow presents. Keep your cameras trained on the formation for a dynamic shape change. As Red 7 and 8 perform a rollback to change shape from 8-arrow into Vixen. As the team bend around to the right, you'll see the Vixen shape with all the aircraft now in short diamond. Clearly as a 9 ship we'd have an aircraft at the back and performing our trademark diamond shape. This year we are displaying as an 8. You may have seen the video from OC RAF explain the reason why. We can only take 3 new pilots each year for supervision reasons, and therefore the maths just didn't work. As the team roll to the left, on the right hand side of Red 1 is Red 2, Flight Lieutenant Rich Walker. Rich is in his first year on the team, a very experienced aviator, having flown both Harrier and Typhoon on operations, and is also a qualified flying instructor on the Hawk T-Mark II. As said earlier, there are over 140 personnel on the squadron, and those support personnel. Once again, the team pulling up at over 4 to 5G, 400 miles per hour, as they reach a height of over 5,500 to 6,000 feet. However, the aircraft will slow down to approximately 120 miles an hour, which makes the response to the controls a little bit less responsive, making formation keeping a little bit more difficult. The aircraft now increasing in speed, 200, 300, 400 miles per hour, which now makes the controls even more responsive and more twitchy. As Red 1 brings the formation around to the left for the Apollo presents. On the left-hand side of Red 1 is Red 3, Flight Lieutenant Tom Hansford. Tom is in his first year on the team and is a former Typhoon pilot where he was a qualified weapons instructor. This meant that he taught the frontline tactics and weapons instruction of technicians to the rest of the formation Typhoon force. Reds 2 and 3 smoke as the whole formation make their way to the rear of the main formation to sit just behind Red 6. To form the to roll and 7 calls aboard as 7 and 8 roll around the rest of the formation. Of course, Red 1 doesn't want to make it too easy for the rest of the team, so in a second he will bring the formation around to the right, and the colour comes on. This makes the job of 7 and 8 rolling around the rest of the formation even more difficult as Red 1 bends round to the right. You may be able to see that the aircraft are flying with their air brakes on. This is the small door at the back of the aircraft. This means that the throttle is at a higher setting. It produces a hotter engine gas temperature. It also disturbs the airflow at the back of the aircraft, which means that the smoke burns a lot more brightly and billows a lot more fuller, which enhances all our manoeuvres. Similar formation breaking in front of us with red 6 off to our left hand side and red 7 off to our right hand side and red 8 going up vertically over the top. The synchro pair led by red 6, a former Typhoon pilot and instructor on the Typhoon, as well as a qualified flying instructor on the Hawk 2 Mark 1. The aircraft passed within 100 feet of each other before the once again passing within 100 feet of each other before disappearing on our proud front 90 and perform the roller coasters. Coming in from the right hand side is red 8 smoking blue, Flight Lieutenant David Soon. Set themselves up an inverted V. As red 8 comes in full underneath the aircraft, and that smoke pod is capable of producing 5 minutes of white smoke, 1 minute of red smoke and 1 minute of blue smoke. Each colour is selectable by an individual button on the pilot's control column. And through our winter training, in honour of the coronation of King Charles III in 2023, get your cameras ready for the Enid Coronation Vertical Break. Give Enid a round of applause. Red 7 and 8 roll around the smoke of red 6. Red 7 smoke and blue is Flight Lieutenant Stu Roberts. Second the air team, former red team, also flying the Typhoon, operations with 11 and 12 squadrons which are based at Royal Air Force Coningsby. I mentioned earlier about our support personnel who 3 roll around the outside of Reds 4 and 5. Clear, go, the comm is called, and Reds 4 and 5 roll around 2 and 3 in the rollbacks, which are one of the hardest manoeuvres for our new pilots each year to master. Get your cameras ready as the Hannah complete vortex for the Hannah break. As Hannah perform their last break with red 6 and 7 once again splitting. Please put your hands together for the 2023 Red Arrows!
Yesterday we heard a lot of clapping and cheering, but today we can really kind of hear it. So we've got the capacity crowd coming on one front.
I think we've got so many more displays to take place. We're just going to depart Red 10 off to their other shows this afternoon. Incredible that they can do so many shows in one day.
It certainly helps the professional teams that do this time job generally perform 2 to 3 shows a day over
For Red 10, Squadron Leader Graham Muskie Muscat. Take this opportunity now, ladies and gentlemen, to race off, get yourself a cup of coffee or a hot dog or a Greek gyro. Got them up here, plus the burgers, Chinese street food. Lots of food outlets here today. But also make sure that you keep up that 30 and distance plus. Let's swap flat. Keep hydrated and wear a hat. Big wave now for Red 10. I don't think I would have done that for any of the show commentary that I've done.
If you live in the Red Arrow, you also get the helicopter ride.
Two of the legendary aircraft to emerge in the Second World War on the Allied side. And both down to Royal. Spitfire today flying is a Mark 19. This aircraft is wearing its wartime colours and markings. It's served with number 16 Squadron, flying out of Belgium in March 1945. Today by Chris Hadler. This aircraft, you'll notice, has a much more distinctive growl than the Merlin and the Mustang. It's a much larger engine, 35 litre volume, V12.
Chris showing off that beautiful and iconic plan view of the aircraft with those beautiful elliptical wings, but also, can you tell me the distinctive part of the Rolls-Royce Spitfire is its colour?
It's what they call PR blue, photo reconnaissance blue, and at altitude you'll see pretty good camouflage up at high altitude where they did most of their work. So the original markings worn by this aircraft with number 16 Squadron, delivered to them in March 1945, and this is a combat veteran aircraft.
So I had the pleasure of working with Chris Hadlow a few years ago. He was one of the pilots with Ultimate High, who are advanced flight training company.
Interestingly enough, this aircraft performed a very strange test in 1963. It was flown by the officer commanding the Fighting Development Squadron. This aircraft was there to simulate a Mustang to see what combat manoeuvring the jets could do to actually counter the Mustangs. Fortunately, it wasn't necessary, but that was just another strange twist in Spitfire history. Over 2,300 Seafires were navalised there, which also flew with both the Merlin and the Griffin engine. Seafire 47, fully loaded and armed, is 3 times the weight of the fully loaded prototype Spitfire. Coming in from your right, the North American Mustang. A completely different sound there. It's often said that once heard, that sound is never forgotten. First flew in October 1940 and was the direct result of a request from the British Purchasing Commission. They were actually trying to get North American Aviation to build the Curtiss P-40 at Edgar Schmuir. Royal Air Force actually ordered 320 of these in March 1940. The prototype didn't fly until October 1940, so also the arrangement of the cooling for the oil system and tube.
Now, during that flyby, you can hear a distinctive whistling sound, which is very different to the Spitfire earlier.
Most definitely, it's attributed to the supercharger. It will whistle they get there.
Now, of course, we've all been watching the new Top Gun movie, and it's the Mustang.
Over 16,700 of these produced. And the VLR missions in the Pacific as well, the very long range.
So Pete, if you're lucky enough to see one of these up close and personal, they tend to have names. So Big Beautiful Doll, Old Crow, there's even one Miss Helen, which I've seen up close and personal. So is that an American thing?
No, it's pretty universal, and a lot of these aircraft carried nose art, and believe it or not, a lot of Spitfires actually carried some risque nose art. Aircraft was in service with quite a few different operators, 31 in total, flew during the military operator. It's the Dominican Air Force and retired its last 12 Mustangs in 1984.
So it was in Norgate. So the headlines at the time read, "All this and Everest too." So just getting airborne at the moment is Kevin Hale in the Oscar, and he has a special passenger on board, one Jeffrey the giraffe. Now you may have seen the stand for giraffes on tour. If you wonder what that's all about, it's Ian Conway set up Giraffes on Tour with the aim to raise funds for Great Ormond Street Hospital, and using his contacts and friends in the aviation business and armed forces. And Jeffrey has now travelled with various pilots across the globe with air forces from around the world. And today he will be in many of the aircraft flying, the first of which is Kevin Hale in the Oscar. So, Pete, do you want to talk to us about my Oscar? And I'll say a bit more about Jeffrey once Kevin is finished.
This is an Oscar AOP-6. Type first flew in 1945. They built over 400 of them, and it was designed to take over from the World War II aerial observation post Oscars and Taylorcraft that had been used by the British Army. Of course, AOP goes back to the very first uses of the
Oscar, not this particular one, not Kevin's, but yeah, great fun. It's always a pleasure, I think, to fly an aeroplane that's older than me, that is. I think older than me. Have a quick message for Mr. P. McGinty. A message for Mr. P. McGinty.
Many of those spotting enemy troop movements, and some of them will be used for prices and at a minimum cost by people who only have basic building skills.
So with all the formation flying we see today, the lead pilot sets the height and the area that they're going to be displaying in, and the second pilot's job is to hang on in there. And they use specific points on the lead aircraft that they then formate upon to keep the aircraft calling out the radio calls, so that the second aircraft, all they have to do is hold on in position and follow the leader.
And that is a visual and an audio cue as to exactly what happens and when it happens. Now that would certainly give it a little bit of hurry up. This would certainly be a way of seeing the countryside on a leisurely Sunday morning. About 200 nautical miles range, it's about 370 kilometres, and it could fly for about 2 hours. I'm sure that Ben and Bruce would love to have 450 horsepower up in front. And there's the split brake.
Keep lines of separation to give you a beautiful crossover. Crowd centre, beautifully done.
Gentleman's manoeuvre. You can see a little bit twitchy up there because, again, we've only got very light winds, but those winds are enough to generate significant burble in the air and turbulence above the tree line.
And a chance to get some exercise this afternoon waving back at them. Those wing walking suits are covered with hundreds of diamantes, and they're definitely sparkling in the sunshine this afternoon.
You're only jealous because your dress uniform didn't have them.
I never had sparkles. I'm really upset.
Still calling out the individual manoeuvres there, you can just hear them. Once you get the miles per hour, you multiply that by 1.6 to get your kilometres per hour.
At the back of the aircraft, they'll do this manoeuvre to help them see forward before they land.
There's a lot of bruise outside that aeroplane there.
He's very tall for that aircraft.
They're saying that they have 4 of these machines that they can operate, or will be able to operate.
You see, it's a little bit bouncy on the runway.
Well, this is not a runway. This is a field. So it is being used as a runway, but you know, there's going to be little rough bits where the sheep have been congregating, and a bit of longer grass here and there.
See the boss, Vic Norman, to have repainted the aircraft in the colour scheme of his choice. So we have Dave Barrell. Now, those eagle-eyed people can see that the wing walkers are now inverted. Another world first. This is the only rigs which allow the girls to swim. And back they go the right way up. 150 horsepower of Pratt & Whitney engine, and the tips of the propeller go supersonic, creating that very distinctive rasping noise. Steermen are now diving. We'll talk about G in a little while, but imagine that you weigh 4 times more than you do at this moment in time, and everybody minute now, those girls are going to be subjected to 4 times their weight, pushing them down onto that top wing as the aircraft perform a beautiful formation loop with their very distinctive, folk trailing behind them.
Now, you're not just reading this and talking from a piece of paper. You have lived this.
I lived and breathed this for very many years.
So when did you start?
So I started wing walking when I was 15 in the grounds of the stately home at Weston Park. I thought that was a one-off. I met Vic Norman when I was 21, having had a few years flying the Tiger Moth aircraft, and spent the next 20 years flying with him. We developed the swiveling rig. We also developed the cockpit climbing, which you'll see in a little while, where you sit in the front seat and you undo your harness and you climb up onto the top wing before strapping yourself securely in.
Now, we wouldn't recommend this for most people, but I do believe in your final year of school, you were actually chastised for skiving off from school and doing wing walking.
Well, they told me I could have a career working in an office, and I didn't believe them. So I followed my dream, took a few days off from school to wing walk, and unfortunately it was in the papers, so I couldn't really escape from that one. Now look at this beautiful place. I spoke to Emma earlier, who's on that second aircraft underneath, and she can only see Kirsten's glove when they're flying that close, and she has to make sure all of her manoeuvres, which are all synchronised, you saw them walking it through earlier, they're all synchronised, and she can just see the tip of the glove as it passes by her vision, and she's tucked right in underneath that. This yourself. So diving towards you, this will be a good photo opportunity. You can see the girls are swiveled at a different angle, braking towards each other. 4 displays a day. I think they said they've got a couple more displays today, and they're going to sleep very well tonight.
And they would have incredible body strength.
So when we had a certain sponsorship, that was called the Boston Bump back in my day. So those outfits, then, they just have to hope that they've eaten enough lunch.
Huddle down out of the wing.
So you'll see their waving is very much coordinated. They practice with Tony, who's the engineer who's been with the team many, many years and keeps these engines purring beautifully. He is called upon to check their manoeuvres on the ground so that he can see they're working together in perfect synchronisation. Both girls have a background. So coming back towards you, the girls are now inverted, so that means that all the G we were talking about is now going through their bodies and into their heads. Negative G is not experience, but you feel as if all your blood is being pushed down into your eyeballs, which is not very nice, but actually it feels so exciting. It's a major adrenaline rush. And it's a unique. Dave Barron has been with the team about 15 years. Unfortunately, I never got the pleasure of flying with him, but if you cut him in half, and it's a bit like a stick of rock, it's all the way through. He's flown the Stearman for most of his adult life. He's also a fantastic engineer and car mechanic, and lives with his beautiful wife, Diana, in the Cotswolds, very close to the airfield. So the team also established and set many world records and world firsts. I myself was part of the world record with the longest person up on the wing, which was then beaten by Roy Castle, who people might remember from Record Breakers. But they've also performed weddings up on the wing with the bride and groom and vicar up in the air. We're diving now. Get your cameras ready.
Yeah, because the girls are going to come in and they're going to
Pulling up. 120 miles an hour and rolling.
certainly been very lucky yesterday and today here at the Midlands Air Festival.
Right, do give them a wave if they come past. They absolutely can see you. So this is audience participation, so it's a chance to get a little bit of exercise today as you wave back. So the pilots are now slowing the aircraft down, and the pilots will give the aircraft a little wiggle, a wing rock, and that is the signal.
Whatever possessed him to step outside his aeroplane at that time, flying by himself as well.
It's extraordinary. So the girls are now sitting on the top wing of the aircraft. They're sitting down, not quite having a rest. Give them a wave, everybody. Give them a wave as they come by. So this manoeuvre is called the goose, after Lucy, who perfected it during her time in the team. They've got one leg and the other one trailing behind. Now they do have an extra harness. It doesn't stop them from falling. It just stops them from landing with a bump, yes. But the harness is there to help them, but it does get in the way. So every time you move around the aircraft and they're not attached to it, you've got to make sure that that extra harness doesn't get hooked up anywhere. And part of the training they do is to go see where they are this time. Do please make sure that you all wave. Hands in the air, give them a wave as they go by. Oh, this is the best crowd ever. Well done, everyone. Waving away. So the girls now should be... There we go. And again, using all their dance and training to showing off their flexibility. You can try this at home. You can...
Ladies and gentlemen, yellow and blue for Ukraine. Slava Ukraini.
He asked.
He won't be walking home tonight, Grandad. Don't show him getting that minibus.
He doesn't need his medication tonight. Won't need any medication tonight. Won't need any medication tonight. Any medication for the stroke. Any medication tonight. Yeah, I'm not sure what.
Beautiful waving fly past there from Airborne Pyrotechnics. Tim and Tom Dews in the Grob 109s. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, and that great tribute to Ukraine. Sponsored by Sydney Charles Insurance Services. The night show that we saw last night, there's that whistling sound from the de Havilland Goblin engine. Now this is a different type of engine, as Mike pointed out to us here in the commentary position a little while ago. It is centrifugal flow. Now the jet engines on the Typhoon that we've seen, and most jet engines, including the big fan engines on airliners, are axial flow, where the air goes straight through the engine, front to rear. Comes in, compressed through the burner cans, through a hot end turbine and out the back. But this is completely different.
I like big tail, I'm sorry. I don't like being
In the centrifugal flow jet engine, which was the original jet engines developed by Frank Whittle here in the UK, there is a single large disc, and air comes in from either side. It was the cutting edge of jet engines at that time for the Allied forces. The Germans used the axial flow in the Messerschmitt 262, the 162, and also the Arado 234 jet bombers.
As you can see, the distinctive shape, there are two twin booms coming down.
Messerschmitt was actually developing a fighter with very similar configuration as well. This is built by the de Havilland Company, and the type first flew as a single-seat fighter, believe it or not, in September 1943. Now, de Havilland being de Havilland, the masters of woodwork, the wooden wonder, the Mosquito, as the Americans say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They continued to use the same type of construction, a balsa wood, plywood sandwich, to build the pod that this cockpit sits on. The rest of the aircraft is all aluminium, but forward of the wing there, it is all made of wood.
And of course, de Havilland were responsible for the Tiger Moth aircraft, which was a primary training aircraft at the beginning of the Second World War. And
They go
very
right-
much would.
They go right the way back through to World War One. The de Havilland II fighter, the de Havilland IV, arguably the best light bomber to come out of World War One, and certainly they were at the cutting edge of jet fighter design. Originally fitted with 4 20mm cannons, the single-seat version. Unfortunately, it was not the first jet to go into service with the RAF. That honour went to the Gloucester number 616. Nice high-speed pass there.
But even then, nice and quiet. It makes a nice change for the roar of some of the engines we've heard today.
This is the only Vampire currently flying in the UK, and it is operated and maintained by the Vampire Preservation Group. Now, this aircraft was originally posted in 1952. This was developed into many different variants, as I mentioned. Single-seat fighter, 2-seat trainer, 2-seat night fighter, and various developments and enhancements of the Vampire. Of course, the Venom, and then the
Quickly it gets airborne. Look at that, airborne in just a few feet. Even better than the OV-10 Bronco, I think you'll agree. Straight up into a loop. Looping the loop and defying the ground. Then a stall turn. Now in a stall turn, it's not like when a car stalls, when the engine stops, the engine keeps going. But what does stall is the wing. The wing loses lift and the aircraft pivots about its own axis. Wingtip nose and other wingtip all pass through the same imaginary point on the horizon. Now showing us a plan view of the aircraft. So I was saying 180 inches wingspan, that's 15 feet, and it weighs 138 pounds. Now a 4-point roll, and is powered by a 4-cylinder Boxer engine of 550cc. So Steve Carr, who is piloting the aircraft, built it with help from Jim and Luke Pierce. Now Steve's flying a manoeuvre known as a rolling circle, where the aircraft describes a circle over the ground whilst rolling as it does it. A very difficult manoeuvre to fly when you're in the cockpit. Heaven knows how he does it from the ground. Then from the inverted pushing up, which would be very uncomfortable in real life, that's about a -4 negative G push, and then back the right way up as he comes down the other side. So he's flying the sorts of manoeuvres that would be flown in modern unlimited level aerobatic competitions. They're a very, very slow roll. Then pitching round with the wing over to reposition and fly back into the centre. And a spiral climb, showing what a great power to weight ratio this model has. Then at the top, a pushover known as a bunt, and then an inverted spin with a flick roll on the way down, and then continuing the inverted spin. Now corkscrewing its way through the air, building up speed, keeping that rolling going, and finally levelling out. Carbon fibre and light plywood and balsa wood. Now look, as it comes into the centre to hang from the prop briefly, we'll be seeing a bit more of that later on, because Steve says he believes this is the only radio controlled aircraft worldwide that can actually hang from its propeller. There we go. No forward movement over the ground, just rolling the aircraft to keep it airborne, relying on the power of the engine to keep it hanging there from the prop.
That's quite cool.
Now, you may have heard of the aerobatic manoeuvre known as a horizontal 8, often referred to as a Cuban 8. Well, this is a vertical 8. You can see the smoke trail is describing a figure 8 standing up right there in the sky. These days, seeing a Yak aircraft displaying, certainly one of the more modern ones, increasingly rare in the UK. We had hoped to have the Yakalets aerobatic team, who have a mixture of Yak 50s and 52s, displaying here at Ragley, but unfortunately they decided as the season started that they were not going to carry on after many years of displaying in the UK, a great loss to the airshow industry. Now a falling leaf manoeuvre, just letting the aircraft drift down. One way of setting the aeroplane up to come into land, not really a conventional circuit, almost behaving like a Harrier jet. Now, is he going to put it down off this, or is he going to accelerate away? I think the latter. Yes, there we go. A very powerful smoke system here as well. And then accelerating away from very low speed indeed. Another 4-point roll. Through to the inverted again. Still inverted as he flies in along the runway line. And a negative G push. Again, that would be about a -4, -5 G push if it was a full-size aircraft with a pilot on board. But with a radio-controlled aircraft, you don't have to worry about human factors and G-suits and things like that. It's not that Yak 55 pilots have G-suits anyway, because unlike the modern military jets, the G-forces they experience in a display like this may be just as intense, but certainly aren't so prolonged. So there might be a 9G pull for just 1 or 2 seconds, as opposed to 25 to 30 seconds. That doesn't apply to a radio-controlled aircraft. And let's just see how short the landing run is. Look at that. You don't need a runway the size of that at Ragley Hall to be able to fly this aircraft. I think most of us could do it from our back garden, couldn't we? Given the absence of neighbours and trees, of course, at either end of the runway. That was fantastic, wasn't it? A very pretty looking aircraft. Now, I haven't been able to catch up with this.
Slightly different display, we've been told this afternoon. We'll be having a tail chase by this Mark 9 and the Hurricane.
So the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, based at RAF Coningsby, is a hangar of absolute wonder, packed full of these beautiful warbird aircraft and looked after and maintained. We talked about the Sally B being the crown jewels, then absolutely BBMF is the UK's pride and joy. Beautiful tight formation by these 2 aircraft. Cameras ready, ladies and gentlemen, we'll let you enjoy the noise.
It's the fly pass from the the Battle of Britain to commemorate that actually started taking place in 1946, and in the mid-50s there was only one Hurricane left. It was down to the efforts of Wing Commander, later Group Captain Peter Thompson, DFC. He was a former Battle of Britain Hurricane pilot, and this aircraft was undertaking the... Look at the difference in the thickness of the wing between the Hurricane and the Spitfire there. Conversions.
Spitfire has these distinctive stripes on the underneath of the wings.
These were D-Day markings. They're supposed to be temporarily applied to Allied aircraft such that there wouldn't be any misidentification between friend and foe in the sky, I suppose, in a marked position. However, as they were done in haste, a lot of these were just put on with paint brushes.
I like to hear that it was dependent on the width of the broom that they had in the hangar.
Of course, that type of marking was also reintroduced for the Suez campaign, but they were yellow and black markings. Of course, the Hurricane used in a variety of roles. This is the Cannon Arm Mark 2C. Originally, the Hurricane started with 12 machine guns, and the Mark 1s had fabric-covered wings and two-bladed props. But later on, armed with cannons for tank busting, used very successfully as bombers, dive bombing.
So we'll be joined later on today by Lancaster, joining us a bit later on, and also the Typhoon, which is also based in that area of the That was a 500 knot arrival. Unbelievable manoeuvrability on this machine. is one of the fleet of aircraft from 27 Squadron at RAF Coningsby. 29 Squadron, I'm sorry. And you'll see as the aircraft comes by, it has afterburners, which is that flame that you can see in the back of the engine, which gives it the thrust it needs to go through these extraordinary manoeuvres.
Aircraft going to be one of the 2 quick reaction alert stations for the RAF, and this is the raison d'etre of this machine. Showing you the incredible manoeuvrability of this machine. Top speed Mach 2, 1,521 miles an hour. Those engines generating 40,000 pounds of thrust in reheat or afterburner. 2 Eurojet 200 engines. Equally as comfortable in low speed. Fitted with a Praetorian gas defensive aid subsystem, can fly up to 65,000 feet. Also fitted with a Pirate infrared search and track. Manoeuvrability down to the electrons flying around in the computer, plus the cunards at the front. Look at that very high alpha angle of attack pass, indicating how slow the aircraft can go, and then he will switch back into full reheat and accelerate away. Has 13 different hard points under the wings and the fuselage. Change in livery of the aircraft. Yesterday, a special paint scheme. This one is the standard on-the-line aircraft. So there's nothing special about that machine that appeared here yesterday. It's exactly the same as this one. You can see the aircraft pulling the G there and developing what they call ecto, that moisture cloud line over the wings or from the wingtips at times.
So also working hard for all that G is the G suit that the pilot is wearing, which will inflate to compress the body and keep the blood in the right place as he's flying.
Look at that. Riding is experiencing on this particular demonstration.
Yeah, remember that's 9 times your weight pushing you down into the seat.
So think about your quarter pounder, how much that will weigh. aircraft that protect Britain's skies from intrusions. And that's
Display teams flying today that's been in existence all the way through every year.
1959 it started. Unbelievable. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for you to pick your favourite. The yellow and white, the yellow with the red stripe, or the red one.
So Pete, which one do you fancy today?
I think I'm going with the yellow because you can actually see through the wings on that one. You can actually see the structure when the sun shines through it.
And I think I'm sticking with my red choice because it's the back of the pack at the moment, but it might make it through.
And just remember, Mike is scoring.
Oh, what the hell?
So as we've mentioned before, this box formation flying, the leader sets the height, sets the direction, and everybody else's job is to follow him.
Now, if you have a look at the windsock, you can see the wind is blowing from left to right towards them there. But at altitude, even though the wind is slight light variable down here on the ground, it's a lot stronger up there, and you could just see the formation being moved a little bit sideways. Heading into a 360-degree turn now. Exactly the same formation requirements here as with anybody else, whether it be the Red Arrows or the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels. We're just a little bit slower and more genteel.
So the Tiger Club is another group, very famous flying.
Making it a little bit more difficult to keep perfect formation, but they are doing a wonderful job up there today. Step line astern. If you have a look through the wings of the second aircraft, you can actually see the structure of the main spars and the ribs that form the structural elements there.
Now we have a lone balloon that's escaped, his eyes peeled to the skies. And the brake. Now, if you choose a yellow aeroplane, yes!
Yellow through.
Yellow and white one, here it comes. Big cheer!
Number 2, excellent.
And the next one coming on, is it yours?
Oh, it's the red
It's the
one.
little red one. You can do this. Yeah, well done. And the little yellow one with the red stripes on it was a little bit of a wobble. Can it get down?
Oh, no,
Fantastic. 4 out of 4. Give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. Oh, there's some singing in here. I'm
Take
very
your medals.
excited. Extra.
Down over the trees there, trying not to disturb the elderflower.
And under it goes. Big
Through.
cheer. Well done.
2 points.
That was the yellow one. The next is the yellow and white one. Can it make it? Yes, it can. They're on fire today. They're doing really well. My little red one. Come on, you can do this. Come on.
Yep.
Oh! No! Right, that pilot will be buying a round of tickets to the Masters. And the little yellow one
Yellow
with
and
the
red.
red.
Yes.
Round of applause to everyone who made it.